All right, guys, welcome back to the next episode of the Natty News Daily podcast. I've got Dan with me. Leroy's out for this episode, but we are joined by the new IPE Figure Worlds champion, Allayna. So I want to turn it over to her real quick. We're going to give her a little bit of some time to chat about her history, herself. Let the viewers know who you are. If you haven't realized by now, this is the first episode where we've been interviewing a female competitor. This is something people have wanted for a long time, and I think you're a great, representation of what the sport is currently. So let's hear
Yeah,
it.
let's
Well,
start right
thanks.
at the top. And James speaks very highly of you as well.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we followed each other for a while. So,
Mhm.
um, I started competing in 2017. So I've been strictly training for bodybuilding since 2016. So not actually too long, but I've been training for half my life now since I was 14. So, um, just in different sports and everything. And that's what got me into bodybuilding was I'm just super competitive. And I needed something after college to get into. Um,
How far out of college are you? Give kind of general
so I
perspective.
graduated in 2015, and then
2015.
so in
Okay,
2016 is when I started.
so
Yeah.
you're 28, I'm
Yep.
guessing. Okay, the
Yep.
same age as me.
Yes. So, um, 2017 did my first competition in October and got my pro card in IPE.
Which show is that?
It was it's a different name now. It's the Omaha Naturals now is what
Okay,
it's called. I forget what it was called then, but that's the same show. It's just a different promoter.
in
Um,
figure, I assume. Correct.
yeah, actually in both figure and physique.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I initially competed as a pro in physique, but my first show was the first show I've ever even been to. So I didn't fully understand the pro level until I got on stage in May of 2018 and got blown out of the water. Like not even close to where I needed to be. And I took that really hard. That was um, just not. So then I wanted to redeem myself and I competed again in September. So I started prep in July-ish of 2017 and then I kept prepping until September of
Okay.
2018.
And it wasn't like you had back-to-back shows. You had
No.
extended periods of time between.
Yes. Yeah. So it
Mhm.
was like little refeeds and then back into prep again. So if I could do it over, I would definitely do it differently. But then I ditched that coach and got on with John Gorman in April of 2020. And I've been working with him.
What led you to John? He works with Brian Whitaker, correct?
Yes, he does. Actually, crazy enough, I listened to his and Jason Theobald's podcast, Elite Physique University,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually won a free year of training with John through that podcast, just like commenting or something on it. And so I won it through that. So that's what brought me with him. And then just re-upped my year with him again. So, but yeah.
So let's talk about the decision why figure over physique, because you took that extended off season. A lot of people would normally say, all right, she took that to grow into that higher division,
Right.
if you want to call it a higher division.
Right.
Why did you stick with the figure?
Truthfully, the women who are successful in physique in the natural organization are older. They have less estrogen, they've had kids, they've had more years of training, and they're able to just get a different level of lean, which is what the judges consistently look for in that category, that I just, being 28, I can't get to yet. I haven't had kids yet. My hormone levels are a little bit different. So just knowing that I can't get to the level that they want. And my shape really works for figure is what I've had for feedback. So
Well, I'd say so if you were just
Yeah, I think a number one
champ.
spot.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a whole, aspect of the sport that, we consider on the male side a little bit, right? Because we know our test tanks and things like that. But for us, it's just like, all right, diet harder, right? Where with the female, there's so many other aspects you have to consider with the fluctuations of hormones and everything that can, very dramatically change your prep.
Yeah. And I think that the biggest takeaways from kind of piggybacking off that, in 2018, I was doing 2 hours of cardio a day, and I was eating like around 1,000 to 1,200 calories for most of the time. And it just wasn't working. This time I was eating significantly more and less cardio, but prioritizing sleep and prioritizing that stress reduction. And that just that made me lose 6 pounds between August and this last show. So it's crazy. These little things, like these things you don't think are as big, are like the biggest factors.
It's the little things that honestly matter the most. It's not the sexy stuff that you see on Instagram that makes the biggest difference. It's a lot of times it's sleep and stress management. That both of those things, and James, we've talked about that, have been huge for me this prep, and making it honestly easier than my 2018 prep, and I've gotten leaner. So
same. Yeah, exactly.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put yourself in a position to be successful, you're going to be successful. There's only so much that you can push, whether it's time, energy, mental fortitude, any of it. When you hit the end of the runway, you're there.
Right.
And I think, I personally have unfortunately not been in a great situation for my preps where I felt it. Like, should I have lost another 5 or 6 pounds, if not more? Yes. Could I? No. Like, I was done. Yeah. When I got there, I was done, and I couldn't have done anything else because I was overly fatigued and overly dieted, and just, and that's no knock on
you had a
any
million
of the coaches or
pressing
myself.
Things in your back, and in your life with kids and work and business and moving. You moved hit the end of your prep.
Yeah, I've finished grad school in one prep, moved during one prep, like had a child during one prep. It's not been pleasant, but here I am.
Jeez.
So, yeah, but yeah. So what's just crowned, right? IPE Figure Worlds. What's the next step for you? But before we jump into that, actually, I want to, because this is something, if you guys don't follow her, you need to follow her, Little Rep and Red on Instagram. You are always commenting about your food and your cravings and things like that. So let's hear it. What was the first meal after?
So I had guys, I love cheese. It just is what it is. I don't crave sweet things. I crave burgers and mozzarella sticks or cheese curds. Like, that's just what it is. So that's what I got. So
I love it. Yeah. And cheese curds, certainly an overlooked food item.
They really are.
I feel underrated. Like anyone down south doesn't even know what we're talking about.
Right.
People in the UK may not. I don't even know.
I don't even technically know what a cheese curd is. So
yeah. It's like a mozzarella stick, but like smooth and like small.
Just small.
Okay. Fantastic. It's like a mozzarella bite, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like tater tots meets mozzarella sticks.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you put them with gravy and fries, they make poutine, and that is like the best thing ever.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
It's like cold places and Canadian places. Leroy's missing out on this episode because I'm sure he knows all about poutine.
Oh, love it.
So
love Canadians. Love my Canadians.
Little digression there on the food. Okay. Got to try cheese curds. But yeah, what's the plan now?
The plan now, I haven't even been back in the gym. Honestly, when I am in prep, it becomes a job for me, so it doesn't become fun, and I need it to be something that I enjoy. So I need to miss it. So I just give myself some time off. So I am doing a few deload days, but nothing too crazy. And then I don't know. We haven't really talked about it yet. We know what we want to improve upon. I literally texted him pictures that I had from people of me on stage, and I was like, okay, I want to improve this and this, like on my drive home. Like I was, so we already have kind of a rough plan of where we want to head, but timing wise, no idea.
Has that been difficult on you? Because I know that in the past for me, that's been a challenge. Kind of, you go from tunnel vision to, I don't even know what's next.
It is kind of hard. I think for me, it's kind of hard for like the food wise. I'm like, well, I don't have anything to prep for. So like, what's the point? You know what I mean? But I've been better this time. But in the past, that's been a real struggle for me because not having a goal, I'm just like, well, who cares?
but you kind of understood it was not understood it was coming, sort of. So
yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So
You
he already
hit
had
like
given
a freight train with it.
No. And he did give me my meal plan ahead of time. I asked for that just so I could be mentally prepared. So yeah.
Cool.
Now, how long have you, so let's back it up a bit. Have you done this style of just like stepping away from the gym before in previous preps, or is this something new to this one?
Yeah, I have. For one of them, I just started running after I was doing 5Ks just to do something. So, but this one just with my job, being as stressful as it is, I'll probably get back into the gym sooner just because it is kind of my stress relief. But but that's typically what I do is I just step away from the gym and do it that way.
I think that's important for people to hear, because so many people think if I miss a session, I'm a failure, right? And here you are very intentionally taking, time away, to remotivate and re-energize yourself, but to let your body heal. I mean, you've gone through hell.
Yes.
You just prepped for forever. You have to allow your body to get back to where it needs to be healthy.
Yes.
So, and some people do that in the gym. You're doing it a very different approach, but there's no right or wrong way. It's whatever you need to get to the goal that you want to be at. So you're certainly not going to lose all your muscle in the week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, let's hope not, at least.
Yeah, I always think it's crazy that people can go to the gym like the day of a show, if they're those early shows, or even the day after. My body is hurting. Like, I'm finally not hurting today from posing and everything. That takes a lot out of you. We were on stage for over 20 minutes, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like women's posing is more difficult and strenuous than, I don't know. I've been able to train the next day generally. I mean, the toughest part is holding that front relaxed and my delt's getting sore, but that's like, other than that, my hamstrings to get a little sore last time, that's an area I really need to hold tight.
Same.
It's an area I hold fat in, and it's like, I need to make sure that they're flexed when I'm, especially in my back shots. So, but I digress. Other than that, it's like,
I cramped so hard in my calf after one of my shows. Was it probably 2019 when I went to do my back double? I like hit my calf so hard it cramped on stage, and I felt like I couldn't walk for like 3 days.
Yeah,
it's just like, I'm done. I can't do it.
Sounds awful.
That is terrible. I don't know. I think
video.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say there was a video of me, like, you could like visibly see me like flinch and like, over on the side.
Worst.
Yeah. But go ahead.
It's a nightmare.
I think the only difference with women, like, I wasn't as sore in physique because we had those different poses and you're like doing different things, where in figure you're just hitting your quarter turns and you have to hit it hard every time. So
and there's an art
and the heels.
That's
gross.
You got to flex hard but make it look so casual and like happy and elegant and all these things, where it's like I'm straining the shit out of my body and it does not feel good.
Yes, very true.
So for the first time competitors this year, practice your posing, because you're in for a world of it. Especially when you're depleted, do it, because you're gonna feel how tired you are for sure.
Yeah, by the end of prep, you don't want to pose.
No.
Do it early. Do it in your off season too.
Yeah.
That helped me, I think, a lot, because I definitely got a little lazy during like the end of prep. I would do my weekly check-ins, but I posed a lot in the off season and just tinkered around and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, figuring out your transitions, because I think that's a thing. Because I'm a judge in the NANBF too, so that's helped me a lot, just to see what other people do and then be like, oh, I kind of like that, and then you practice that. But for sure, practice and hold each one for like a minute. I think the deciding factor for us was like our back pose. So they held us in that for forever, it felt like. So
it's something that, like, when you're practicing, you kind of get into the pose, like, okay, I feel where the pose is, and then you get right out. But getting in the habit of holding it, I think, is a good idea. It looks better in your individual routines.
Yes.
That's something I changed from my first show this year to my second show. I'm like, wow, I did not hold my poses very long. I was like, I got into it, but then I got right out. It's like, so then for this my second show, the Orton, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make an effort to hold this so that I can get good photos. That's, but also to be able to hold it in a lineup is is big as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see the guys that are constantly fidgeting, and that just takes away from the physique, or girls. You're constantly moving, reassessing, and slightly tweaking things. Judges don't like that. You want to hit it, hold it, and make it look good.
Yeah.
I have to ask as a judge too. So when they have like call outs, when they have a few people up front and then people in the back, are they looking at you when you're in the back or not really?
I mean, I do, just because I can't focus on anything for too long, but yeah, I think so. I mean, you have to see like if people are like too relaxed back there, like that says something about just your conditioning, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about like holding that front relaxed.
You can do, like, for women, we do our relaxed pose. So like the one where like our hands on our hip and like, and we're like doing like that model pose or whatever. I think men can do something similar. I don't know. I guess I don't know what you would do in classic, right?
Well, I've done classic, I've done open, which actually is a topic I'm dabbling or debating over what to do. I think I'm going to venture away from classic. But that's that we don't need to get into that today. Maybe we'll probably James, you and I will probably James, you Leroy and I will probably cover that in a podcast with us when I wrap my prep up. But,
there you
go. Yeah. We've talked about that a little bit in the issues there, but we'll go down that for now.
And I'm sure, James, you have thoughts since you saw me in person too. So, but
absolutely. So let's talk from a judging perspective. What led you to doing that?
I feel like NANBF IPE, primarily in the Midwest, right? Not venturing out where you guys are, not venturing out to there's some in the West Coast. But I just wanted to get my foot in the door in the organization and kind of be a voice in the organization. Notice some not so great trends happening, but then we have a new president now. So things are getting better.
What sort of trends, if you don't, I don't know.
Yeah, just kind of political things were happening. This is more like back 2017, 2018. Just some, it's this person's coach. So this, what I mean? Like that's what it felt like. And I think just bringing a different perspective, a younger, because these people have been doing it for so long, not that it's a bad thing, but just getting new ideas in there. And then also being able to see it like, okay, well, if I'm just on stage, I can only have my perspective from being on stage. But if I'm also judging, I have a totally different mindset being a competitor too. So
you have that perspective and you know what judges look for because you are a judge. Yeah.
I can talk to them. I was judging the Omaha show here and our head judge was at the show. And so I got to just pick her brain about things and kind of know where you stand going into it. So
So as a competitor, what should you look for whenever you're soliciting feedback? Are there certain things that you should be asking or looking for, or ways of approaching judges? Or
I don't know about your guys. Do you primarily compete in OCB or?
Primarily, yes. I did the Mr. America, and I'm actually competing in the INBF this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Do they provide feedback?
Like I've had to solicit it.
Okay. So we can like order it. Like you have to order it at the beginning of when you're checking in. But I think just talking to judges, asking what they saw, what opportunities you have, because some of the girls that I see and I talk to, your posing's amazing, but you need like 4 more weeks, 6 more weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you need to look a little bit fuller. Like in bikini, we don't want you to look like you have dieted yourself nearly to death. You still need to look healthy. But that's primarily what I talk about, is how you looked on stage, your presentation of what you have. Because then some other people look great, but they can't pose for, they can't show me what they have. So I think that's just really important feedback to get, is what was actually seen. Now, of course, you already know going in, like, oh, you need to build your shoulders, you need to build whatever, like that for me isn't that constructive, just because that's typically something you already know, or you and your coach know. But I think just knowing or hearing how you presented yourself is the most important, in my opinion.
Yeah. Actionable things that you can change. I mean, I got a lot of feedback on, myself and one of my teammates were the only guys to use Dream Tan in our class, and they didn't like that. And that's something we can very easily change, whether or not they should have. That's a whole topic, but that is something that we lost points for, and that's very like, boom, all right, next time I know. So very easy to change that. And I think you'd be remiss to not ask the judges for their advice. They're the ones that
for sure
are placing you.
Yeah.
So like, sometimes the feedback's not always that great or that constructive. I mean, there's a ton of athletes that they have to go through. So you kind of might fall through the cracks a little bit, but something's better than nothing, at least.
But I just mean, if you have the opportunity to talk to them, like in person after the show, like definitely stay around, stick around and talk to them, because that's, especially if you're wanting to continue.
That and was don't my next question. I've done both, where a lot of times I'm just like, it's late, I want to get out of here, or they're moving the show along to the next segment, or it's a balancing act. And then I'll just email them, and then I feel like I'm, sometimes it's like, I don't know how much they actually remember me, even if I give photos and stuff like that. It seems like, but I think you're right. If you can, certainly the in-person feedback, like.
And I think it's hard to say this, and it's easier said than done, but don't let a placing hinder you from continuing to compete. Like, oh, I got fifth, I'm just like done, without getting feedback or something from where you're at. So
there's always room for improvement for anyone, really.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes you just simply can't control who shows up. I mean, you may place, bad at not even bad, like top 5 at any show is not bad if you have a deep lineup, but top 5 in a really stacked show, well, you go to a different show and you may be top 3, or you may win. You never know. So it might not be that you needed to improve all that much. It was just the physiques you were stacked up against were just a different level, and that's going to happen in this sport. I mean, I swear it happens to me every time I compete, but so all right, so we're getting close on time here, so I want to wrap things up a little bit. I want to make sure we talk about, if people want to contact you, where they can reach you, where they can follow your journey. But also, I always like to end with a message for like the newer competitors. So from IPE Figure Worlds champ, what's the message?
I think that my main thing is, you're not going to always be motivated. You are not going to want to go every day. You are not going to want to do it every day. But if you are disciplined and determined, then you can do anything.
Simple. We like it. It. All right, so let's hear the socials. You don't do any coaching yourself, correct?
Absolutely not. No, I do not. If you need a math tutor, I got you. But if you I will let the people who have studied that keep doing that. That's not me. So Little Rep in Red on Instagram. That's primarily where I'm at. I do not have my name on there, so you cannot search my name. I am a teacher. I do not need 5th graders finding my Instagram, or their parents. So that's primarily where I'm at. I do have my email on there as well, if people wanted to reach out. I do posing coaching. So I do that, because that is something I enjoy. But other than that, I let these guys handle the others.
There we go. You heard it here. Yeah, so that's another episode of the Natty News Daily podcast. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, subscribe, a follow, all those good things. And we will hear you guys or see you guys or whatever. We'll be recording next week.
Thank you, Allayna. Thank you for
Thanks,
coming
guys.
on.